Philippines. Oh my gosh.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Hello guys, hello Philippines, hello world, hello other parts of the world. This is again singer, eternal voice, your social media user, and your YouTube content creator. So welcome back to business. This is again lecture in my science world. Sapitila. Okay, so we have gravitational force. Okay, so this is problem number 2, right? We have yesterday problem number 1 I solved last night. If you can still remember last night. No, actually last 2 days ago. Okay. Hello, shout out to my FB friends, my Instagram friends, and my 2 YT channels friends, and also in my Twitter accounts friends. Okay, something like that. Okay, so you can stay with me and you can pass a little bit and you can proceed to your, whatever things that you are doing right now. But I will be happy if you're passing by and streaming for quite some time with my live streaming at this moment in time at your service. Okay, we have the problem. Okay, not a personal problem, but a physics science problem. Okay, this talks about gravitational force. Question number 2. Okay, can you see me? I'm wearing an orange shirt and a white shirt as well. Okay, but in my other phone, I'm using 2 mobile phones at the same time because I'm doing the simultaneous live streaming, right? So in my other phone, the color of my shirt is red, but then in my other phone is a little bit orange. I can't explain. Maybe the resolution. I don't know with the resolution. Maybe it matters also. But to be sure, I'm wearing a red-orange shirt to make it safe. A little bit orange, a little bit red. Something like that, okay? So this is a very, very old shirt. This is a branded shirt, Adidas shirt. I bought this when I was in, United Arab Emirates in 2010 to 2012. Something like that, okay? Because I worked there before also in the past. And this is very quality. Look at now. So it's been 2022 minus 2010. How many years? It looks like, oh my gosh, 12 years. But still alive and kicking this shirt. It's quality shirt, right? See? There's no damage on the fabric. Okay? There's no laceration in the fabric as well. So, oh my gosh. So it's basically quality shirt. But of course, it's expensive. This is 100 plus, as far as I could remember. Only one shirt for 100 plus dirhams. Adidas. But now, since I'm getting matured already, I don't have to buy branded shirt as long as I look pleasant in public and I'm comfortable with. So it doesn't matter at all the brand. But before when I was younger, so much younger. What I mean is that we are always focusing on the brand at our younger age because we are not really on the point of saving money for the future and we don't think for investment. But as we grow older, we are now very, very alert what's gonna be happening to us in the future. So that's why we save money and we try to eliminate buying things which are not very important, and we try to be not to be materialistic also, and we are also contented of our mobile phone, not really branded. In fact, I don't have Apple brand mobile phone in my entire life. Because I come to think, I can just buy a little bit cheaper and then change that later on. Because if I buy that very expensive, then I can help the remaining money of my family. For example, if I will buy 3,000 Saudi Riyal Apple, then I will just buy 1,000 and I still have balance and I will give to my family. Okay, who need the money the most for the financial, aspects like financial survival, right? So at least I can help also in another way around, rather than always thinking for myself. So, too selfish, something like that. We don't have to be too selfish because the world is not made of one person alone, and no one is an island. There are always people around you, your family, your relatives, your friends, your coworkers, whatever. Then you cannot survive without them as well. You got a point. So that's why you need to consider other people as well, especially your family. Okay, going back. Ang dami kong ang dami kong YouTube Chuso. Okay. Now shout out to you, Ma'am and Larig Antonio Veloso. Wow, among silingan na active, very active in TikTok. Oh, I watched your TikTok, Mom. Very beautiful, really. Okay, I love it. Okay, now going back to question number 2. An object is dropped with no initial velocity near the surface of planet Manta, reaches a speed of 21 meters per second in 3 seconds. Planet Manta has a mass of 2.3 times 10 to the 23 kilograms. What is the acceleration acting on the object? That's the first question. Second question is, what is the radius of the planet Manta? Okay. Now I will ask you a question. Is this question is realistic or hypothetical? Okay, we need to identify first if it is applicable in the real world, in the real scenario, or it is happening in the actual really. Then it could play a great role to me, this kind of problem. This is just only a hypothetical that doesn't project to reality, but so that I know how to solve problems like this, like that. So it is hypothetical or realistic. Take a look with the terms here, the words, the vocabulary, something, the English language or whatever, you will scrutinize or examine, okay, what has been phrased. Okay, for example, planet Manta. Is planet Manta existent or non-existent on Earth or in the universe? Because we're talking about planet, so this is more on the universe or the outer space. This is under the study of astronomy, right? Astronomy is a branch of science that deals with the study of heavenly bodies, okay, and the outer space in the universe, something like that. That's astronomy, right? Okay, now this is hypothetical because our planets are mainly Earth, Venus, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, something like that, and then we have also the Pluto. But the Pluto is discouraged to become a planet on 2018. Current events. I just read this in the www World Wide Web online. So in 2018, the United States of America, NASA did a very, very high-tech discovery that during their very wide telescope, they can see in the telescope, this Pluto behaved not a planet already. So they declared that the planets we have now at present is are only 8 planets we have. Okay, just what result they concluded in 2018. Okay, just new. It's 44 years from now. Okay, so but sad to say, our textbooks mga palangka has not yet been changed officially. We are still following the obsolete declaration in our books all over the world, in our high school and elementary, stating still that we have 9 planets, that actually, in the reality, we have already 8 planets. Because the Pluto did not qualify of the behaviors or the characteristics to become a planet. Okay, I don't go to the details, but generally they say like that. I also watch the video, something like that. Okay, so if we try to put that also in a periodic table, as you can remember, okay, so this is only side story. This is also an academic information before I go into discuss this one. Okay, so aside from our periodic table, we have already 219 elements. Right before we have only 218 elements, right? You can still remember this was discovered by Demetri Mendeleev, a scientist who discovered that the elements are arranged in increasing atomic number, something like from left to the right, from top to the bottom, according to its physical properties. Okay? Meaning to say, the group, for example, group 1, group 2, group 3, the group 1 will share the same characteristic because it belongs to the same group. Okay? So things like that. This discovered by a scientist called or named Dmitry Mendeleev. Okay, there is also another scientist prior to him, Moseley, Moosely, but it looks like that his theory subject to controversy. That's why this Mendeleev tried to correct something like that. And of course, this Mendeleev was accepted globally during 18th century or somewhere in between 17th century and 18th century, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Also, you also help me to do your research and share with me back, okay, to correct me if I'm wrong, something like that, okay, because this is really, is not planned also. Actually, I don't have to vlog this, okay, because you know, I love to sleep, but I cannot sleep also. There's so many things in my mind, okay, I cannot sleep. So if I will talk and share with you, then I can sleep peacefully, something like, I don't know why. At the time I have my, YT accounts, this is gonna be my culture already. If I cannot discuss, I cannot explain, I cannot share academic information to the virtual platform of sharing academic information, then I cannot sleep properly, something like that. Sometimes my stress will be eliminated because I shared already what's inside my brain cells. Because there's a lot of information inside my brain cells pertaining to science, and I have to release that out. Something like that, and it would be enjoyable for me because I love science. Science is my favorite subject, as well as English. I'm not that really good in math, but pwede lang siyang i-carry. Okay? I love English and science, by the way, in the first place. Okay, so thank you so much for watching Ma'am Cynthia Zapanta Maestri. Oh, Cynthia, who is this? Oh, okay, silingan niya po niya siya namo sa relocation, Tinaan City of Naga, Cebu. Okay, shout out to you, Palanga. Okay, now, you read already the problems and you know what are being asked and required, then it's about time to take note the data. Okay, so it's gonna be like, no initial velocity. What do you mean by this? So, initial velocity is zero. Okay, when you face an examination, for example, if you love to participate in the academic discussion, and for example, if the teacher wants you to, what's the answer? Like that, and you raise your hand, something like that, you are very, very vocal, and you volunteer to the answers like that, and you explain, then I will tell you that initial velocity during the dropped word, DROPPE, meaning to say your initial velocity is zero. Okay? You don't have to wait sentence no initial velocity. Okay? You don't want for the predicate. This is the predicate, right? A sentence is composed of subject and predicate. Without predicate, it is not a sentence. Okay? In English, subject and predicate made it a complete sentence. Without a predicate, it is not a sentence. Something like this. Our predicate here is no initial velocity, and our verb is drop, and our noun is object. Right? So we can distinguish, right? Okay, our initial velocity is zero if we can see the word dropped always, all the time in problem solving. Okay, all the time in problem solving, whether it is chemistry or physics, as long as there is a word drop, automatically initial velocity is zero. It starts from initial velocity, but you have a final velocity. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that you don't want to wait the word no initial velocity. As long as there is a word drop, this is your hint, your clue indicator already that your initial velocity is always equal to zero. Okay? Things like that. We should be alert for this technique. Okay. Now, near the surface of the planet Manta. Planet Manta is non-existent, therefore this is a hypothetical question, not subject for reality. Okay, now, reaches a speed of 21 meters per second, this is going to be technically your final velocity. Okay, VF will be 21 meters per second. Any question between how to distinguish an initial velocity and a final velocity? Okay, it's very easy to detect, right? Okay, now, planet Manta has a mass of 2.3 times 10 to the 3 kilogram. It's gonna be mass M. So 2.3 times 10 to the 23 kilogram. Now you required is the same as what is being asked, huh? So your required is letter A, acceleration. Oh, the small letter A, right? And then, what is the radius of the planet Manta? Okay, what is the radius? Meaning, the radius or a distance between the center of the object Manta. Because in the gravitational force, the distance there, it is the distance between the masses centers of the object, meaning the centroid of the object. If you are familiar with the strength of materials, or shall we say engineering mechanics are the subjects of civil students, then also we other engineering students also have subjects, right? We are very, very familiar also with that topic, centroid or the center of gravity. Especially when you know there's a bridge, what are the forces involved, tension, stresses, blah blah blah, so and so, and you need to put the FBD, the free body diagram, and you can compute for the strength of the materials of the bridge, something like that, so that it will not collapse, okay, due to very high capacity of the materials that we'll be able to put above that structure of the bridge, something like that. Okay, so we need also to be alert with the foundation of the strength of the materials and the engineering mechanics, something like that. Okay, these subjects are common to all engineering students. Okay, like that. Okay, we have letter B, the radius of the planet Manta. Now we need to draw or to illustrate and make a schematic diagram or an illustration so that we can really understand what's going on here. Okay? This is only for the purpose of discussion because we are encountering the future examination. You don't have to sketch because it will take up your time. No, it will eat up your time. You will consume your time if you will just draw something like that, and if you are really sure what to do and you have the upper performance, bingo, use that directly. So for the purpose of discussion only, I need to illustrate here, right? Okay, so I need to draw. Okay, where's the eraser? Oh, my eraser is lost. Oh, it's here. Oh, law of magnetism. The ruler, the metallic ruler is in contact with the eraser. Oh, nakakaloka. Because this is a magnetic board. Then automatically the eraser also is a magnetic material, right? Common sense. Okay, so I need to erase now. Before erasing the contents, I have to put the data well, so that it will not be a waste of time. Okay, 3 seconds. Oh, okay. The time is not yet put here because my space, I have a limited space. I cannot enjoy too much discussion with this limited white magnetic board, which is not very huge. I need a very huge white magnetic board so that I can, illustrate, I can discuss in a detailed fashion. But in here, I can't do that, okay, because it's a limited space of a magnetic whiteboard. I hate this, but better than nothing, right? Okay, you get the point? Yeah, it's gonna be like that. So the time here is, 3 seconds. Okay, I have to erase now to save the space. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, I have a green marker today. Green symbolizes the planet Earth with its nature, the environment. To be an environmentalist, the color is a symbol, the green color is a symbol of being an environmentalist. Something, or taking care of the environment, nurturing the environment, or loving our natural resources or our environment. The nature itself, ang kinaiyahan, something like that. Okay. I love green as well. Okay, so we have this. Okay, acceleration. How can we compute acceleration? Actually, we can now deduce different kinds of formulas related to acceleration. So, for the purpose of discussion, it's gonna be like that. But if you take an examination, sometimes we'll go directly to the appropriate equation without thinking for others. Okay, but this is for a systematic explanation. Okay, so we think appropriate formulas, then we need to associate acceleration all the time in our formulas, right? So we can get acceleration through the second law of thermodynamics, not thermodynamics, second law of motion of Isaac Newton. Force is equals to mass times acceleration. What else? In kinematic linear equation, we have also acceleration is equals to the velocity over time, or the rate of change of velocity as per time. So that is acceleration. Or actually, it's only the rate of change of velocity is an acceleration. Okay, something like that. What else? What's the formula of acceleration? There's so many, but we don't go to the angular, because angular is a little bit different na talaga siya. Okay, so what else we can copy for acceleration here? So we gonna tackle also the acceleration due to gravity, G, but G is not the A, because G is downward. Okay, but for the purpose of linkage, I'll just put that here, temporarily. Okay, now, what else the formula of acceleration we want? Then we have also acceleration in terms of the kinematic trajectory, trajectory topic, meaning to say, hyperbola, parabola, or throwing a ball, something like that. You get the point. So you can also have the acceleration there. So we have Vf is equals to Vo plus acceleration times time. And we have also the other one. We have the final velocity with the power 2, the initial velocity with the power 2, plus twice the acceleration times the distance. And we have also the other one is the distance is equal to the initial velocity plus the 1.5 acceleration times time raised to the power 2. So you need to memorize this if you are taking up engineering course. Okay, from the moment you step in your first year college of education, you need to memorize completely the basic appropriate equations already, so that you can use that as your weapon in going to the higher subjects, and then you can derive an equation. You should not be dependent to your instructors and mentors. You should have also your own initiative. Okay, things like that. Okay, now, it's in here that we need to find the acceleration. What is the best and appropriate formula to use this kind of acceleration? So what is the acceleration acting on the object? Do we need to use this one? The Isaac Newton? Take a look. It needs mass. It needs force. We have the mass, but we don't have the force. So equals. Okay. Here, do we need to use this one? Acceleration is equals to velocity over time. Yes, we can use this. But take note, this is more linear. Linear. Okay? Linear. But our question focuses on the planetary motion, which is the planet. When we mean the planet, it talks about the orbit of the universe. A certain planet has its own orbit to rotate or to revolve, and this is not linear. Okay, so this is equals. Though I have the velocity, I have the time, but the applicability of the situation is not appropriate. Okay, letter C, this one. Vf is equals to Vo plus 8. Can you use this one? Okay, we have the final velocity. We don't have the initial velocity. It's okay because it mentioned the problem. So we have the time of acceleration. Yes, we can use this. Okay, so let's have this temporary one. This one. Final velocity squared, Vo squared plus 2ab. Can you use this one? Or not? Take a look. Okay. You cannot use this one because we don't have a vertical distance or a horizontal distance. That is planetary. Okay, the distance there is talking about the 360 degrees revolution or whatever. Something like that. This is a circular path. Something like that. You get the point? Okay, so we cannot apply this equals. Now we have distance equals to VOT plus 1 with equals again because we don't have vertical distance. So the most appropriate is this. Okay, final velocity is equals to the initial velocity plus acceleration times time. How much is your final velocity? It's mentioned in the problem, 21 meters per second, right? And we have also the initial velocity, which is 0, plus the acceleration in which you don't know. Okay, times time is being mentioned, that is 3 seconds. Okay, and then do the math. 21 divided by 3. So it's gonna be a perfect 7. Okay, meter per second squared. Your acceleration in your first question. Radius of the planet Manta. Oh my gosh, we're talking about the gravitational force here. Okay, let's do that. Okay. So nakuha na itong letter A, 7 meter per second, and let's erase this because I don't have enough space. Okay, ganon. So what is the formula of gravitational force? We have Fg is equal to the capital G times m1 times the m2 over r squared, in which r is the distance between the center of the masses. Now, take a look at your problem. Previously, it mentioned only one planet, not two. So in this case, guys, if no two planets or objects are being mentioned, what you will do here? You'll take the general. Okay, this is M1, mass 1, mass 2, so this will be just equal to M. Okay, because there's no other object. So this is a hint in solving a problem like this. Not only to this, okay, there's other centripetal forces equations, but this is universal to all concepts in solving a problem. If the situation only having one object and refers to two masses, of course, that as M alone, not M1, not M2, because there's only one object. Okay, so let that as M alone as your mass of the planet Manta. So that is here, mentioned here, right? Ganon. So, radius is being asked, right? Radius is being asked, and you look at the gravitational force. You have the G, you have the mass, which is equal to 2.3 times 10 to the 23 kilogram. So you will say like this, gravitational force is equals to G. What is the value of G? I told you to memorize this already, right? It's gonna be 6.67 times 10 raised to the power negative 11. Wait, okay. Newton square meter per kilogram. Now, there are three quantities. Be careful because sometimes when you memorize that one, you will be rumbled. You rumble the units. So the best technique is to do the formulation and carry over the units if it is really doing the right thing. If it is in the numerator, it is in the denominator. Something like that. So by checking it in our formula. See, the masses are beside the G. You need to say the kilogram will be on the denominator. So I will say Newton square meter over kilogram squared. Things like that. When you memorize. Because sometimes our memorization is not perfect. When we grow older, it's not all the time. It will retain in our brain cells, in the hippocampus part of our cerebral organ, in the central nervous system. The retention of our memory is there in the hippocampus, right? If we review the anatomy, okay? So it's gonna be like that. So gravitational force is equals to the G, okay? So 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11. Guys, I don't have to put the unit because the units are agreeing. But before plugging or substituting the values of each quantity in your formula, then you ensure that there's a compatibility of the unit. Because you cannot put directly, you will still have to convert to agree with the units. For example, if it is a Newton, then expected that the masses will be kilogram. Because Newton is equal to 1 kilogram per meter second squared, and there's no gram there. Okay? Because my purpose is to save time and to save the ink of my marker, so I don't have to put the unit. Okay, I'm tired of putting. No, that's a joke, but I teach you to be like that also. Okay? So, now, so this is M1 times M2. Let this as M already, so it will become N times M is equals to M squared. So you need to square that M to power 2 over R squared. Do you have the M? Yes, I have. 2.3 times 10 to the 23 kilograms. Substitute that here. Okay, so I will say gravitational force is equals to 6.67. Okay, any questions so far in my discussion? Did I take so fast during my discussion? Any questions so far? Thank you so much for watching, Ma'am Mylene. Practical physics, Ma'am Mylene, I know that. Okay. Then 67 times 10 to the negative 11 reached. Okay, then times the mass, 2.3 times 10 to the 23 kilogram. In this topic, guys, you have to be careful because this involves huge exponents. You need to use the scientific calculator, not the ordinary calculator, because you cannot compute that alone by estimation, by approximation, by using your brain cells alone. You need the scientific calculator. Good only if it deals with zeros. It's easy to move from the right it's easy to move from the left, but this is not involving zeros all the time. Okay? So, scientific calculator will solve the problem. Okay, so let's use the scientific calculator now. So, it's gonna be like that. So, radius squared over r squared. Okay, ganon. So, are you following me? Okay. You can also take down the question directly and solve by yourself. Actually, this is not a complicated problem. It's just intermediate between high school and college physics. But you know what I found out in the engineer's examination or licensure examination, it's in between. Not really that difficult, not really that easy also. And then the terminologies are not too much familiar. Sometimes they will change with not popular terms. So that maybe it will trick you out because you don't know what's the other definition for this. For example, calculate the solubility of hydrochloric acid in a 1-liter solution. Huh? What solubility? But that is the same only with concentration. Okay? So in chemistry, we are fan of weighting the word concentration, molarity, like that. But solubility is also a concentration. It is not just used all the time by our instructors. But if we are very, very smart enough to detect that it has the same meaning, then we can compute for the concentration. Because that's the same. Okay, things like that. Okay, so it's gonna be like 2.3 exponent to the power 23. Okay, like that. And then times 6.67 exponent to the negative 11. Oh my gosh, very huge. Equals to 3.52. Okay, do you remember the rule of how to round off? There's a lot of rules in our math elementary level. Grade school level, how to round off after 2 digits, up to 2 decimal places. You need not to be perfect how to round off, but you know, you can easily get if you write the total digits in your calculator and then try to cut off that after 2 digits. Anyway, multiple choices, you can get the correct answer. But then if you are not facing the examination, especially if show your solution. For example, if you're taking the preliminary examination, the prelim, midterm, and finals, there's no multiple choice. There's multiple choice, I think, no, nothing. Engineers board examination for the government, Philippine Regulation Commission, but you know, in the classroom instruction, you need to show your solution. So, you don't have to worry how to round off, right? Okay, so it's gonna be 3.528 times, there's a rule for this. I forgot also. Raised to the power 36 over r squared. So this is your equation 1. Now, in your equation 1, there are 2 unknowns. Sir Sotero, how can we solve that? There are 2 unknowns. Okay, so by degrees of freedom principle, we need to account there must be at least 2 equations also, because the degrees of freedom states that the number of unknowns must have equal number of equations and formulas so that you can have the answer. Okay. Meaning to say it will be imbalanced if you have so many unknowns and you are only using 1 equation. So it's impossible and you cannot do magic. So the best way to analyze that is to think for another appropriate equations to be used. Okay, now we have to come to this here. I need another 1 equation. Okay, so I will choose if it is related to the radius formula or if it is related to the gravitational force radius. Oh no, gravitational force. Sorry. Okay, now I have here the gravitational force. Guys, you are taking the planetary motion or the planets in the universe. What is your idea there? Okay. Oh my gosh, so interesting. If you will go to the outer space, right, and you will become an astronaut. Okay, and you will be back 1,000 years in coming back to the planet Earth, and we don't know if we will still be coming back. So that's very challenging, profession, right? Okay, it's gonna be like that. Okay, radius ang atong gipangita for the second question. Okay, like that. So radius ano? So question mark. Right? question mark is a punctuation mark. So what are the other punctuations? We have the exclamation, exclamatory like this. And we have also the period, the dot, and we have also the comma. Okay, and we have also the colon, the semicolon. These are the punctuation marks, very useful to interpret any problems in the future with regards to math, and also to understand the English well, the phrasing of the paragraph. If you read an article, a column, or whatever in the www, World Wide Web, in the online world, right? So you need to be extra careful also with this punctuation mark, especially the comma. Okay, this comma is very useful because it will attach the assumption. If there's a comma, meaning that is still part of what is being emphasized. But if it is a period, the emphasis of your understanding will just be there. So take note for that also. That's why I tell you, in passing certain examination, it would be a great advantage if you really understand English well. Okay? If I'm not saying that a perfect English or you have to be extra good in English, but at least you are above average of English. Because questions are being phrased in English. I don't know with other countries, but for us Asia people, the international language is English, but normally if you're taking an international examination also, it's expressed in English. Then if you cannot interpret well the paragraph, then you will be lost. Something like that. You get the point, and you will be extra clever also with synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, like that, so that you can really distinguish what's the meaning of this word. For example, if you can identify if it is a linking verb between a collective verb, something like that. Okay, you can distinguish a proper noun to a common noun going to a collective noun. For example, if I have equipment. Equipment is a term that is used both as a singular and a plural. Because if you use equipments, that's wrong grammar. Okay, that is not existent in the dictionary because equipment is also plural, equipment is also singular. If you meet words like this, these are all collective noun. It can act as a singular noun, it can act also as a plural noun. So you will say, I have 4 rotating equipment in our plant. That's correct grammar. But if you will say, I have 4 rotating equipments in our plant, that's wrong grammar because there's no equipments in dictionary. As I told you, equipment can act as a verb, can act as a plural, and can act as a singular. So there's so many things like that also. Okay, menu. Remember menu? You will not say menus, food menus. It's always menu, even though how many menu you have. Okay, so that's applicable to plural, applicable to singular, something like that. Or else it will be changed to another thing. For example, fungi, fungus, like that. Okay, alumni, alumnus, like that. What else? So there's a lot for that example, like data or datum, criterion, criteria, something like that. For example, you are doing your analysis. This is only through spelling. Okay, for example, my analysis is correct. What am I wrong? And then you have only one analysis. The spelling of only one analysis is ANALYSIS. If you have so many analyses, the spelling will be ANALYSES. Meaning to say, the letter E, eagle, is for plural and the I is for singular in the word analysis. Be careful. But again, this is not very important if you are working in the process or in the world that is not really related to do the documentation, something like that. But if you are working in a media or in a journalism world, then you have to be extra careful. Okay? But for example, if you are also an editor of a newspaper, that's your job, then you should also be, you should be alert for this learning about vocabulary. Okay, you got the point? But in other job, that is not really relevant. But if you make a document, it's relevant already because so many will look at it. Okay, your reputation is at stake and you are the author reflected in www, right? You make an article and it will be reflected to www, meaning World Wide Web online, and then your name is there. For example, synthesis of ammonia hydroxide by a catalyst, platinum oxide. And this is my scientific research. And I do my scientific research and I publish that in an online world. And I have so many technical information that it is wrong, the grammar. So it will be also a turn off. Okay? So be careful. It is only good if you talk, discussion, it will be accepted. But during documentation, it is not because it is subject to black and white. Okay, so problem with the reputation, the imaging of the author. Okay, that's why we have proofreading before releasing the books or any newspapers in the market. You need to double check all your grammar, spelling, something like that before releasing that globally. Something like that. Okay? So it's expected to be like that. Okay, going back to equations. Okay, now, so I have the gravitational force here, and I have two equations. How can I do this? Okay, now, you use the F is equals to mass times acceleration. You have the mass acceleration already, you have the mass also, right? And you have also the another equation that goes like this. Okay, centripetal force. Why you use centripetal force or Sotero? Because this is circular path. Okay, so centripetal force is equal to the mass times velocity squared over the r, la. And then I have also force is equal to the mass times acceleration. So, which is appropriate in this situation? Both are appropriate, right? But in this case, you need to solve individually. Okay, you need to solve individually or derive it individually. Let's use first the second law of acceleration to equate to the gravitational force. I could say the second law of Isaac Newton, the law of acceleration, mass times acceleration is equal to the gravitational force na mao ni siya 3, what's that? Okay, 3.52, okay, 3.528 times 10 to the 36 r squared. Okay, now you have the mass and you have the acceleration. You can solve for the r. Okay, this is your first option. Okay, what is your mass? So, in the denominator. So, 2.3 times 10 to the 20. I don't have to put the units because it's already have a compatible units, right? And then, we have 3.528 exponential to the 3. Something like that, yeah. Okay, ganon. Okay, this is Napasi acceleration mga palangga. Okay, so I hate this. I have a very, very small dimension with magnetic board. I cannot explain very well. Okay, what's happening? Okay, so let's divide this both sides with multiply with r squared. Rule of math. Okay, so this is gonna be mass times acceleration times r squared, and it's going to cancel the r squared. So it's going to be 3.528 times 10 to the 23. You have the mass, you have the acceleration, then the radius will be square root. Ano na square root ng Sotero? Remember the rule of algebra. If there's an exponent here, we need to multiply that with an exponent also by both sides. How can you multiply the raised to the power 2? So multiply that by 1/2. And 1/2 means square root in algebra. That's why you put square root here immediately. Okay, so radius is equal to the square root of 3.528 times 10 to the 23 divided by the mass. You have the mass already in your problem, which is equal to 2.3. Okay, times 10 to the 23. And you have the acceleration before, 7. Okay, then square root. What is your radius? This is your first option. Okay. Ganon. Okay, guys, are you still there? Okay, so if you don't love to watch this, it's okay. So you have the full freedom to escape. But if you love to watch this, because this is academic information, sorry talaga siya. Okay, so if you want to sharpen your brain cells, this is the avenue for you. Okay, but if you want to sharpen your eyes only, then you will watch movie. Okay? Because if you watch movie, you don't have to use your brain. Okay? You only use your eyes. Okay, so radius is equal to the square root of, okay, 3.528, okay, 528 exponential 23, ganon, 2.3 exponent to the 23 times 7, memory in, okay? In calculator, you have memory in, memory recall, ganun, di ba? Okay, exponential 23. Memory in, okay. 1.61 times 10 to the 24. Okay, and then we memory recall later. Okay, 3.528 times 10 to the 23. Mga palangga kong hitab. Then 3.528 exponential to the 23 divided by 1.61 exponential to the 24. Then square root. Wow. 0.47 ang radius. Radius is 0.47 meter. Like that. Square root pa man siya. So this is the first option. Second option, we will use the centripetal force. Okay? Equating to the gravitational force. Let's check if there is these have the same answer. Then if it is not having the same answer, try to choose which is more reliable and close to the theory. There are things also like in math, like because math is only an application that is used to prove your theory, principles, and concepts. That's only the purpose for that, so that you know, oh, it's gonna be like that, right? So that's basically a scientific law. Scientific law in a scientific method. If you have a scientific research, it talks about formulas, equations, data to back up or to support, to really prove that your concept and principle is proven to be correct and debatable and unappealable, meaning nobody will contradict. Okay, so that is scientific law. Okay, scientific method, scientific research, scientific law, scientific conclusion, and your scientific hypothesis. Something like that. Okay, but your general term for that is scientific research, and you will use the scientific method to have a successful scientific research. Okay, like that. So we the perceivable method. Okay, or radius. Now, we need to use now the centripetal force, mga palangga. So, mv squared over r is equal to this one, right? I have here. So, 3.528 times 10 to the 36 radius squared. Now, take a look with the radius is in denominator all. So, cancel the one radius in the left. Again, math. Okay, so guys, if you have poor foundation in math, so I could say bunganga sa engineering profession. Okay, that's why you need to do a lot of extra effort to understand the basic foundation of math before stepping the college education if you take up engineering course. Okay, from the moment you step, from the first day of your engineering profession, then you learn the basic math already. How to derive, how to cross multiplication, how to round off, how to simplify, okay, how to do the linear equation, which is discussed in the high school. Okay, so that you can do and you can understand the college subjects, math and science smoothly. Okay, ganon. So, cross multiplication, it will become mass times radius times velocity, which is with power 2, is equals to 3.528 times 10 to the 36. So, Sotero, what is v squared? This is the velocity raised to power 2. And you don't incorporate the initial velocity, because if you multiply anything to a 0, that will become 0, common sense. So, we need to say this is the final velocity. Okay, now, mass, it's here, right? 2.3 times 10 to the 23. 2.3 times 10 to the 23. Ganun chupa-chucho. The radius, which is unknown, we're trying to solve. And the velocity, which is 21 meter per second, is the power 2, right? And then the 3.528. Okay, times 10 to the 36. You have now the radius. You can copy it. Be sure that it will be equal to here, huh? Not equal to something other. The other one is correct, the other is wrong. Okay? Like that. So, kasama na ito ang anime kay Yuna. So, 21 times, chararat. 21 raised to the power 2 pa siya. 21 raised to the power 2 is equals to 441. Mahitag. So, 441 is 1. 441 multiply with 2.3 exponential to the 23, right? Yeah. So 2 oh, really? Okay. Exponent to the 23 times 441 is equal to memory 1. Okay, it's gonna be radius 1.0143 raised exponential to the 26. Nakakaloka. Okay, 3.528 times 10 to the 36. Ganon! And then this one is 26. Okay. Ganon. Okay, so 3.528 exponential to the 36 divided by 1.0143 exponential to the 26, right? Is equals to square root. Okay, ganon. So it's gonna be, our radius is gonna be here. Our radius is gonna be, what's this? 1, 2, 3, what's this guys? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.86 times 10 to the 5 meter. Now analyze, they don't have the same answer. Take note. You are considering the universe. Okay. You are considering the universe. Could you expect a very small distance only of having 0.47 meter? So by common sense, this is technically wrong. How much is 0.47? Is there only, and that is the universe, right? So this is wrong by common sense. First, by common sense, it is wrong. So this is correct because this is 1.86 and 10 to the 5 meters, so high, the distance in the planetary motion in the universe. So this is correct. Another reason, apart from the common sense, by the theory, we have the second law, right? And you equate that to the gravitational force. You can never equate this second law of Newton to this gravitational force. Why? Because this kind of formula is for linear acceleration. Meaning to say, going forward, going backward, going upward, going downward, it does not tell circular path acceleration. So that's second philosophy or reason why this 0.47 is wrong, aside from the common sense. Okay, number 3. So this centripetal force is correct because we're dealing with the orbit. That's why we have this 1.86 times 10 to the 5, which is reasonable, logical, reliable, and proven to be undebatable. Undebatable meaning no one will contradict. Okay? It's gonna be like that. So these are gonna be the ways how to solve it. If you have so many answers, then compare it, which is the more practical one, and then apply the theory and the principle, right? So the applicability is very important, guys. For example, linear acceleration, it cannot be applied to a third circular, right? And the teacher sometimes will never teach you to that. Okay, it's in your instinct how you understand if they deliver the content well. Sometimes there are topics, especially me as a true Confucian, there are a lot of situations that they will never spoon feed to you directly. It will depend on your effort how to understand, how to do that. The best guidance is to explore and expand yourself outside from the box. The box is the classroom instruction, and outside is you will go to the library. Okay, you go to the library and research, scan books there, and compare the way how it is being solved. Let's say you will get a minimum of 3 books. You will select the best book that you can understand very well how to solve. Okay, because there are also a lot of authors that have a very complicated solution. So you need to go to other books that explain very well. You need to gather 3 books, 4 books. But this book is very good for me. I can understand very well. Then go to that kind of book like that, because Your instructor cannot really assure to give you 100% of their academic learning to you. Okay? 1 hour only, 2 hours only, it's not enough to share the totality of the topic. Okay, you get the point? So you should be having initiative. Okay, like that. So you need to do like that because if you really want to become a legit and a certified engineer in the future. Okay, something like that. You have to be observant. Yeah, because to be observant is the quality of a scientist. Okay, you'll never become a scientist if you are not observant. Okay, and then you have to have so many imagination, wild imaginations. For example, there is one problem, and then you know that is really only the question, and you need to expand. What is the other possibility question that to be asked? For example, I solved that question a while ago. I need to ask also, what is the angular momentum for that? Because that is circular, right? Then you can apply the angular momentum. Since the question is tapping on the acceleration and force, and you don't have to do that. What I mean, in yourself only, you need to expand pa on what you are trying to solve. Meaning, wild imagination. Okay. You should be observant. You should have a critical thinking or a critical thinkers, and then you have a wild imagination. So these three should be the qualities of a scientist, and most of the engineers will be like this. Okay, meaning you can easily catch or so what's happening for this like that, and you solve that by yourself. Okay, you can go to other people, but the best is to learn it from yourself, right? Because you cannot expect that they will help you also. That's why you need to do it by yourself because they're also paying their tuition fee. You're also paying your tuition fee. So something like that, okay? You got the point. It's gonna be like that. Okay? So just like a bridge, the bridge will collapse if the foundation is very weak. Okay, or any structures will collapse if the foundation is very weak. The foundation there is your knowledge on the basic concepts, principles, theory with its appropriate formulas and equations. And you must understand how it is being derived, what is the purpose of the particular quantities involved in that particular equations and formulas. You need to go deeper. Something like meaning you cross-examine. What's really this? Imong toki unong tagsa-tagsa. Okay, that's gonna be like that. And then you will scrutinize. You will do a lot of scrutinization. Wow, scrutinization process. Nakakaloka. Okay, thorough scrutiny. Wow, nakakaloka. Okay, any questions so far for that particular question? And it's easy to solve it if you do in detail, right? And systematic way of solving. Any questions so far? If you like this video, then you can click the notification bell for some newest updates of I Am a Singer. And then if you will be able to share this video to one of your friends, one of your colleagues, and to your sons and daughters in order for them to have a guidance how to solve physics, this particular topic, then you can do that also. Okay, and then you can subscribe my channel if you think you are not subscribing yet in my YT channel. Okay guys, before I end, I will say, remember this always that Jesus loves you. Bye bye, God bless everybody.